everyone, and thanks for joining us today on Long Island Trackside. In the absence of last year's late model champion Dan Giovanelli, the 1995 runner-up has the field covered, leaving many asking, how has Steve Tooker become so dominant?
He's in the league by his own right now.
I just don't think anyone's going to catch him this year. I think he's gone for the season.
These guys don't go home and say, well, he's the winner. They're all working very hard, and they'll catch up with us.
Easier said than done for all who are competing against the mighty 55 this year. So far, Steve Tooker has racked up 3 wins, 2 seconds, and a 4th place finish in just 6 events this season.
Every week we come to the track, we work hard. I've got a very dedicated crew. And, you know, we got good sponsorship behind us and all the recipes that it takes to come together for us lately.
That recipe is what has his competitors puzzled. A key ingredient to the success may be the amount of power the 55 has shown this year. In fact, some people have voiced concerns that the team has found something special in the engine department.
It sure sounds like it when it goes by, I'll tell you.
It's fast everywhere. Down the straightaways or, you know, in the turns, every place. I sure would like to see inside of it.
It is a lot faster than everybody else. We'll have to see what happens.
Others feel what has happened is that Tooker and company have found the total package this season.
Some people talk motor and everything else, but it's really not. He's the first one getting on the gas coming off the corner, and let me tell you, that's where he's picking up all the people.
Steve and his guys really did their homework over the winter, and they found something that really works good, and it's just a matter, you know, for us to all do our homework now and find out the same type of secret.
A little-known secret is that Steve Tooker's engine builder, Walter Bonzik, is the engine inspector for Riverhead Raceway's late model division. It's a sore point with competitors who call the association a conflict of interest.
The official here, builds his motors. To me, I don't think that's right.
I'm sure the guy's doing the best he can, but when you're running away like he can run away, it doesn't look good.
There might not necessarily be anything wrong with the engine the way it's built, but it's always the possibility that there could be, and this is what everybody seems to be, bothered by.
I've heard they think I'm cheating. There is a protest rule. If they think we're cheating, they can put up the money.
Protest or no protest, Bonzik insists cheating is just not his style.
I'd be shooting myself in the foot. You know, if I was caught cheating, I lose my entire credibility as an official. Kind of stupid. I've been doing this for 3 years now.
Riverhead Raceway is aware of this situation and has taken special precautions to assure competitors everything is done fair and square.
When it comes to that car, he will not look at it. I've looked at the motor, and Pat Fez has done the motor on that car.
We've already been told that we're going to get taken apart every night if they have to in order to squash those kind of rumors, and we have nothing to hide.
With drivers crying foul play this year, last year's championship car owner says there may be a simple solution.
At least allow the other team's engine builder to be with NASCAR's chief engine guy. And I think that would square up the rules. We worked with that rule before when McBetts was the chief engine builder. He had probably 50 engines here, and he was in charge of ripping them down.
Steve Tooker knows he is being scrutinized and even told us he would trade motors with another top 5 team for one night by the end of the year, just to prove his point. The bottom line, right now Tooker is dominating the late model class at Riverhead Raceway.
Some guys out here saying he's cheating. Nobody catches him, God bless him, let him go on his way and win the races.
We'll catch up to him by the end of the season. I'm not too worried about that.
They should be worried because Tooker has been virtually unstoppable. His Lumina was flying on the quarter-mile oval last week. Paul McInerney's number 60 was also flying around after contact with early race leader Sal Maniscalco. As Tooker and Pete Erickson battled for second spot late in the race, Larry LaFontaine was cruising in his Riverhead McDonald's number 53 until he hit fluid on the track and spun in turn 4 with 5 laps to go. Lucky Steve Tooker inherited the lead and held off Erickson and Glenn Tyler for his 3rd trip to victory lane. 2 races were held during the same day 2 weeks ago, and Tooker was on top in the first one. He blew through the field and passed leader Paul McInerney for the win during a daylight late model feature event. The night belonged to Pete Erickson. He pulled into victory lane to pick up his first trophy of '96. Steve Tooker spun early in the event, but still managed to finish second.
Today's late model report is brought to you by All Pro Auto Parts. All Pro, your auto parts specialist.
Fog made the first race of the month a real wild one. Paul McInerney and Peter Bertuccio were involved in more than one accident together. The second was a showstopper for both drivers. Roger Oxy was on rails during this race. He took the lead from the 96 of Howie Brody on the 8th lap and then drove the middle of the track on the final lap to keep Steve Tooker at bay. For Oxy, it was his second straight win. Today's Charger Report is brought to you by Trailer Transport of Westbury. Trailer Transport carries a complete line of car haulers, landscape trailers, and horse transporters by Featherlight Trailers.
After a 4-year absence here at Riverhead Raceway, Dynamite Dan Turbish has returned with a vengeance.
That vengeance produced 2 wins in May for Turbish. 2 weeks ago, the Long Island Ice and Fuel number 8 would inherit the lead after front-runner Steve Ratty and Joe Orlando tangled on the backstretch. It would not be a quiet night for Turbish. Jim Kiesel banged Dynamite Dan, but he wouldn't budge. The fireworks continued on the front stretch, with the number 1 of Jeff Merkel giving Kiesel the final blow. Kiesel made sure officials knew he wasn't pleased. When racing resumed, Turbish held off a hard-charging Merkel for the win. The following week, Dan Turbish made it 3 wide and muscled his way past front-runner Steve Ratty and Dan Grennan on lap 8. Several cautions slowed the event. The last one set up a great battle between Ray Manieri and Turbish. The second-generation driver held off many late race challenges from the Mr. Beery's 43 for his second win in a row.
It helps being in the front. We'll definitely find out how good the car really is and how good the driver is in the second main event, because I probably will be starting around 20th.
The front of the field is not too safe either. Bill Rosskamp and Joe Orlando got hooked up and slid into the infield, but the fireworks weren't over. Mike Mortimer and Joe Hartman ran nose to tail, and with 2 laps to go, the Mr. Motorsports 05 bumped the 14. Mortimer got loose, and Hartman slipped underneath for his second win of the season. Bobby Sada also found his way into victory lane this month during the first race in May. For Long Island Trackside, I'm Paul Schneller.
News 12.
The blunderbuss division remains one of the most competitive here at Riverhead Raceway, but this year it's been a season of controversy between the officials and drivers.
What we're doing is cleaning up the division. I know a lot of guys are complaining that we're getting too rough with inspection. I'm going to go by the rule book, and that's the way I'm going to do it.
We have no problems. You know, the officials all of a sudden now say, hey, look, this car that, this car that.
You know, everybody says, well, the officials did this, the officials did that. All the officials are really doing is their job, trying to keep everything affordable like they're originally supposed to be.
The recent enforcement of the rules in the blunderbuss division has resulted in a total of 9 disqualifications this season.
Half the division is not running the correct motor for the year and make and model.
Today's late model report is brought to you by All Pro Auto Parts. All Pro, your auto parts specialist.
Steve Tooker's season has been a picture of consistency in the late model division at Riverhead Raceway. He blew away the field on Labor Day weekend for win number 5 this year. The previous week, it looked as if Buzzy Erickson was in control, but by race's end, Tooker was all over the Hempstead Harley 68. In the final turn, the 2-touch, and the finish is too close to call. Officials awarded Erickson with the win. On the final night of racing a couple of weeks ago, Erickson was quickly passed up by Roger Oxy, who ran away with his 5th checker and a runner-up finish in the standings. Tooker cruised across the line in 3rd and was crowned late model champion.
We've had an exceptional year. We've led this thing from week one, as you know, and we really felt that it was ours to lose the last 3 or 4 weeks. We got knocked down a couple times, and these guys brought me right back.
I don't mind being the bridesmaid this time, but next year will be a different story. I'm taking this as a stepping stone to...
5 drivers traded the Charger Division point lead in 1996. On the 24th of August, it was Danny Turbish on top. But it was also the night his turn 4 wall on lap 4 and limped into the pits. The most dominant driver of the season, Joe Hartman, was right where he should be, up front. He finished 3rd behind Claudio's clam bar driver, Jimmy John Elwood, and first-time winner in '96, Ray Manieri. Turbish finished 12th, and his points lead took a beating. Hartman was now only 4 markers behind. And Turbish's bad luck would continue during the double point race on Labor Day weekend. Up front, Bob Sada battled Richie Carmen until 2 laps to go when, guess who? Joe Hartman banged his way past Carmen for 2nd. Sada was able to hold off the Mr. Motorsports 05 for his 2nd win this year. But Hartman's runner-up finish put him on top of the standings with a 20-point lead over Turbish, who finished 8th. Danny Turbish came prepared on closing night. Got my Twizzler. Please have a long caution. But a twist of fate was needed for him to win the championship. All Joe Hartman had to do was finish 10 spots in front of Turbish, and the title was his. The 99 of Jack Orlando brushed aside George Crockett at the halfway marker. Turbish was glued to the 99 in the closing laps, but couldn't get past. Orlando won his 1st of the season, as Hartman finished 3 spots back in 5th to clinch his 1st Charger championship.
This is what we were shooting for. We really were dying to have it, and it feels real good right now to have it. The wins are good, but this big win is real nice.
The last 2 weeks of racing basically came down to those 2 weeks. Besides that, we ran about even. You know, it's too bad it wasn't a little bit closer to points. It would have been a lot more exciting.
Exciting was the word for the 50-lap World Championship Charger race the week before. On lap 4 of the non-points race, Danny Grennan put a nice move on Turbish's Long Island Ice and Fuel number 8 to take the lead. On lap 38, Turbish tapped the 38, sent Grennan fishtailing down the backstretch, and nailed him again in turn 3. Grennan let Turbish know he wasn't happy. We still don't know if Turbish returned his glove. The number 8 crossed the line first, but runner-up Ray Manieri was crowned the Charger World Champion after Turbish was disqualified for an illegal carburetor. Earlier that night, the